Hello students. Today's topic of presentation is CMOS technology concepts from chapter 2, CMOS technology concepts, subject VLSI 22062. The goals of the chapter are to introduce CMOS logic concepts, explore the voltage transfer characteristic of CMOS inverters, learn to design basic and complex logic gates. Also, this discussion focuses on the implementation of digital logic circuits using CMOS technology. And today's CMOS technology is the best suited for realizing digital systems. Now, before going for the understanding the CMOS technology, we'll revise field effect transistors. So here you can see types of field effect transistors, the classification. It is divided into two, JFET and MOSFET. JFET stands for junction field effect transistor. It is having, again, in that you having two types, that is N channel JFET and P channel JFET. And in MOSFET is metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. In that, MOSFET is classified as enhancement MOSFET and depletion MOSFET. In enhancement MOSFET, you have to again have two types, N channel MOSFET and P channel MOSFET. And in depletion also you are having N channel and P channel MOSFET. So now we are going to check out the MOS transistor basics, the general construction of the MOSFET. So here you can see it is a 4-terminal device. So the terminal names are drain, gate, source, and the other terminal is called as substrate. Here it is shown N channel MOS. The MOS is P channel. Here you can see the construction of the MOS. So here you are having N type of semiconductor as a substrate and two P type of semiconductors, as you can see here, on which one drain is connected and the other, the source, is connected, and the center one, that is gate, is connected. There you can see a gate oxide which acts as an insulator, and a channel also is shown here which forms between two P types. Since two P type semiconductors are connected via the channel, it is called as P channel MOSFET. These are the symbol of the MOSFET. The NMOS and PMOS symbol is shown here, which will be using for further designing process. Now we'll check out some terms related with the MOSFET, some electrical terms which are the characteristic of the MOSFET, which is there in your data sheet. So these are the different terms which we will study, look out in details, that is logic, voltage levels, noise margin, fan in, fan out, speed, power consumption. So with any digital IC or any integrated circuit, you get a data sheet in which its electrical characteristics are mentioned, which are shown here. So we will see that in details. So here the logic level specifications for low and high. So for any digital circuit, for logic 1 and logic 0, it is having some voltages, mentioned voltages, that we are going to look into. So here first is VIL max. So it is maximum input voltage guaranteed to be recognized as a low level. So that is logic for logic 0. So maximum input voltage guaranteed to be recognized as low level. It should be always 30. It is generally taken as 30% of VCC. So maximum voltage which you are applied, it is normally 30% of VCC. Then next is VOL max, that is maximum output voltage in the low level. That is logic 0. So it can be ground plus 0.1 volt. So that is VOLS L max. Then VOH minimum output voltage in high level. So here you can see, as in the diagram, when we draw the waveform for logic 1, the highest voltage for logic 1 is VCC, but you can see VIH minimum and VOH minimum, as well as VIL max and VOL max. For low, logic low, the minimum and the maximum voltages are marked here. So VOH minimum output voltage in the high level, and that should be VCC minus 0.1 volts, and VIH minimum input voltage guaranteed to be recognized as a high level, that should be 70% of VCC. So in data sheet it is mentioned, it is marked here. You can see VOH minimum, VIH minimum, VOL max and VIL max. Now next is DC noise margin. It is very important factor. DC noise margin is the measure of how much noise it takes to corrupt a worst case output voltage into a value that may not be recognized properly by an input, because noise plays a very important role in your digital circuit. So noise should be always avoided, otherwise it will corrupt the output. So for example, if the output was supposed to get 0, because of the noise it will be you will get as 1. So this is not good in your digital circuit. So noise margin is equal to VIL max minus VOL max, and noise margin high is equal to VOH min minus VIH minimum. Now next is input currents. Now as this chapter is completely defining the CMOS gates, so CMOS gates input consume very little current, only the leakage current of the 2 transistor gates. So for that IIH maximum current that flows into the input in high state, and IIL is equal to maximum current that flows into the input into the low state. So here IIH and IIL is marked here, you can see in the data sheet. Next is fan in. Fan in is the number of inputs that a gate can have in particular logic family, is called logic family's fan in. So here you can see a 3 input NAND gate is there. So the fan in is 3, as it is connected with the 3 inputs. And also 7 input NAND gate using 4 input NAND gates. So here the 4 input NAND gate, the fan in is 4. Fan out. The fan out of the gate is the number of inputs that the gate can drive without exceeding its worst case loading specifications. Fan out is equal to number of gate inputs which are driven by particular gate output. Fan out is equal to 4 in figure, as shown in figure. So figure B you can check out. Shows an output wiring feeding an input on 4 different logic gates. So the output of the NAND gate in figure B is connected to 4 different gates, that is NAND gate, NOT gate, NOR gate, and again NAND gate. So the fan out is 4. Next is the transition time. It plays a very important role in integrated circuits as well. The amount of time that the output of the logic circuit takes to change from one state to another is called transition time. So here you can see the waveform. So in figure A is a digital signal, and figure B is the same digital signal, but from logic 0 to logic 1 it is taking some time, that is called as rise time, and from logic 1 to logic 0 it is taking some time, so that is called as fall time. So that is most important. Time to change from low to high is rise time, and time to change from high to low is called as fall time. Then is the propagation delay. The propagation delay is the amount of time that it takes for a change in the input signal to produce a change in the output signal. So TPHL is equal to high to low propagation time, TPLH low to high propagation time, TPD propagation delay, TPD is equal to max TPHL comma TPLH. TPD determines the gate speed. So propagation delay, that timing plays a very important role. It determines the speed of the IC as well. Power consumptions. There are two types of power consumption calculations. One is static power consumption, dynamic power consumption. Static power consumption is the power consumption when the circuit output is not changing. So when the circuit output is not changing, that whatever power is there, that is called a static power consumption. And dynamic power consumption is a power consumption when the circuit output is in transition. And it is having that formula you can see for dynamic power consumption. Now these are the advantages of metal oxide semiconductors. Advantages of FET MOS over conventional BJTs. So it first thing is FET is unipolar device, that is operation depends on only one type of charge carriers. Then it is called also as a voltage control device. It is having very high input resistance or impedance. Source and drain are interchangeable in most low frequency applications. Low voltage, low current operation is possible, that is low power consumption. Less noisy as compared to BJT. Turn off is faster and very small in size, occupies very small space in ICs. So these are some of the advantages of MOSFET. As this chapter uh, is on CMOS, so we'll start with the CMOS introduction. CMOS is referred to as complementary metal oxide semiconductor. It is also sometimes known as complementary symmetry metal oxide semiconductor. Complementary and symmetry refers to the complementary and symmetry pairs of N-type and P-type MOSFET in its design. The main advantage of this is low static power consumption and noise immunity. Since one transistor of the pair is always off, the series combination draws significant power only momentarily during switching between on and off states. And this you can understand from this block diagram. So complementary CMOS, it is actually having N type of MOSFET and P type of MOSFET. So it is a combination of both the things. So here you can see, so PMOS and NMOS together forms your complementary CMOS. Now why the CMOS is used popularly? So its advantages are small in size, easy of fabrication can be done easily, low power operations and relatively simpler manufacturing process, high impedance allowing it to be used as charge storage device, etc. CMOS inverter. So here you will see inverter. The main function of the inverter is nothing but if you give the input as 1, the output will be 0, and if you give input as 0, the output will be 1. That means it is nothing but your NOT gate. So complementary, if you want a complementary MOS inverter, it needs both NMOS and PMOS device for logic gates to be realized. The CMOS inverter consists of PMOS stacked on top of NMOS, but they need to be fabricated on the same wafer, as you can see here. Now this is the diagram of CMOS inverter, as you can see here. So NMOS and PMOS is there, and both the inputs are connected together to form the single input A, and the output is as shown as Y. So the upper PMOS, you are having VDD connection, and lower NMOS is having ground connection as shown. So this is how you can draw the logic diagram of CMOS inverter using N-type and P-type of MOS. So this is the diagram of NAND gate using the transistor CMOS technology. So as A is ANDed with B, and then there is a complement of A and B. So here you can see if A and B, there is a series connection using NMOS, and for PMOS they are in parallel, and the output is connected as shown here. So this is the logic diagram of your NAND gate using CMOS. Check out the logic diagram of NOR gate using CMOS. So NOR gate is nothing but the OR A or B, and then the complement of A or B. So here you can see, since A or B, so NMOS gates are connected in parallel. Whenever there is a OR operation, NMOS are connected in parallel, and whenever there is AND operation, NMOS is connected in series. And PMOS acts exactly in the opposite way that of NMOS. So here you can see A or B. So NMOS is connected in parallel. At the same time, PMOS is connected in series. Now next is AND gate. Now this is the basic gates using CMOS. So for AND gate A and B, you can see on your left hand side. So A and B, Q1, Q3 connected in series, and at the same time that Q1 and Q3 is connected in parallel above to form the A and B, the whole bar, that is NAND gate. And that output is again connected to CMOS inverter. On right hand side you can see Q6 and Q5, and this is how you get AND gate connection. This is OR gate logic diagram. So first NOR gate is formed using CMOS, and at the output of the NOR gate CMOS inverter is connected. That is how you get OR gate. So some complex gate using CMOS examples are shown here. So this function is A or B dot C the whole bar. So the logic diagram of A or B dot C the whole bar is shown here. You can see. So A or B. So this is A or B. So NMOS will be connected in parallel, and then it is AND C. So that C will be connected in series, and exactly opposite will be connected with the PMOS. So PMOS means since A or B was connected in parallel, now in PMOS they will be connected in series, A and B, and C will be connected in parallel. Next equation, A and B plus C and D the whole bar. So here the logic diagram is shown of this compound logic gates using CMOS. Next, A and B plus C the whole bar is also shown here. Whenever there is AND connection, so for AND connection for NMOS you have to do series connection, and for OR NMOS you have to do parallel connection, exactly opposite to that P. So in P, if you are doing connection with PMOS, then if there is an AND you have to do parallel connection, and if there is OR you have to do series connection. So these are some examples of compound gates. A and B plus C and D the whole bar. So logic diagram is shown here. So next is A plus B dot C. Now I'll come for CMOS transmission gates or pass gate. CMOS transmission gates. By combining an NMOS and a PMOS transistors in parallel, we can obtain a switch. We term these as transmission gate or pass gate. The output is strong 1 or strong 0. CMOS gates are used for implementing the logic blocks, and CMOS transmission gates are used for transferring the output levels of one stage to the input of the next stage. Each transmission gate is controlled by clock signal and its complement. The advantages: they output both strong ones and strong zeros. They consist of two transistors in parallel, and except near the positive and the negative rails, it has about half the resistance of a single pass transistor. As resistance is half, the propagation delay also becomes half. So here you can see the logic symbol of the CMOS transmission gate or pass gate. So the symbols can be shown, all the symbols are shown here of transmission gate. So one input output, and there are two control signals also here, that is C and C bar. The working of a transmission gate. First condition, when C is equal to 1 and C bar is equal to 0, the NMOS and PMOS are both on. The switch is therefore closed, and output voltage will be the same as input voltage. Now if C is equal to 0 and C bar is equal to 1, both NMOS and PMOS are off, and the switch is therefore open, and the output voltage will be independent of the input voltage. So this is how the transmission gate works. That is the transfer of input voltage to the output. Otherwise there is a high resistance and the input voltage won't be able to be is not transferred to the output. CMOS circuit characterization and performance estimation. CMOS circuit performance is determined by equivalent resistance capacitance delay. Load capacitance such as gate capacitance, wire capacitance, diffusion capacitance, parasitic capacitance, all are most important. Otherwise the delay, the input will be transferred to the output with a certain delay, and the speed will be reduced. Driver resistance consists of some equivalent combinations of pull up and pull down devices. So metal wire resistance may or may not be the important depending on the length. Polysilicon gate resistance may or may not be important depending on the length of poly line. But the resistance and capacitance estimation is important, as well as switching characteristic, transistor sizing, power analysis, and other issues are there. So for circuit performance, all these performance estimations should be done for the circuit output. Resistance and capacitance estimation. The rise and fall time of the CMOS output depend mainly on transistor resistance and capacitive load. Capacitive load is comprised of capacitive load is also called as stray capacitance or AC load. The output circuits: a gate, output transistor, internal wiring, packaging, wiring that connects an output to the other inputs. Input circuit: a gate, input transistors, internal wiring, packaging. The resistance estimation, as we all know that resistance is the formula for resistance: R is equal to theta upon T into L upon W. Here theta is the resistivity, it can be shown by rho. T is the thickness, L is the conductor length, W is equal to conductor width, and RS is sheet resistance as shown. R is equal to RS L by W. So length and the width are also important. So in the resistance calculation, so here you can see one rectangular block having length L and width W and thickness T. So, and if there are 4 rectangular blocks, so R, if you do the calculation, so you can see you get still the RS into L upon W. So that is most important. So resistance directly depend upon the length and inversely proportional to the width. The load capacitance of the load capacitance on the output of a CMOS gate is the sum of gate capacitance, diffusion capacitance, routing capacitance. Capacitance can be calculated by the given formula as shown here, where sigma x is dielectric constant and sigma rho is permittivity of free space. So what is gate capacitance? You can see here. So the terminal gate is connected, there a parasitic capacitor is formed, C0. Along with that, depletion, because of the depletion layer, the parasitic capacitance C depletion is also formed, that together that capacitance get added, CO and C depletion. So this is gate capacitance. So as we have seen that the parasitic capacitance and resistance play a very is formed inside the CMOS. So there are some design challenges, that is to reduce the capacitance. So careful layout can help to reduce the diffusion and interconnect capacitance. They increase the transistor size, but the increase the transistor size also increases the diffusion capacitance as well as the gate capacitance, and because of that it will increase the fan out factor of the driving gate and adversely affects its speed. So directly the speed will be decreased. Then but if we increase the VDD, that is power supply, the designer does not have too much control over this factor, as the supply voltage is determined by the system and technology considerations. So these are the different design challenges. So this is all about the CMOS concepts. So in the next presentation we'll look into the CMOS inverter details. Thank you.